This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
This episode of the 1911 podcast is brought to you by Coral, the proud sponsor of the TalkSport Fan Network. Here for all kinds of fans. For the armchair experts who didn't have enough City points to make that away game. For the football fashionistas that wear claret and amber with pride. And for the nostalgia merchants, because nothing beats the history makers. Whatever kind of fan you are, with Coral's free-to-play reward shaker, win a guaranteed daily reward or offer throughout the season. Simply shake your phone to win. Over 18s only, maximum one reward or offer per player per day, 8am to 8pm. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. For more information on safer gambling, visit gambleaware.org.
This episode is proud to be sponsored by Now, where you can stream Sky Sports flexibly. Catch the biggest games this season how you want, when you want. The football season is back, and you can keep up with all the action on Sky Sports with a Now membership. Whether you're perched on the edge of your sofa or hiding behind it, you can capture more of the drama this season with Now. The heat of the moment, the 90th minute winner, that last-ditch tackle, the pride on the line, and the best bit, you can dip in for the derby or stay for the season. With a Now month membership, you can stream all Sky Sports channels flexibly. No fuss. Go to nowtv.com to find out more about sports memberships. 18 plus, UK only. Minimum speed 2.5 megabits per second. Live scheduling may be subject to change. Full terms apply.
City drop more points on the road and I lose my voice as Bradford draw away at Chesterfield. We'll talk tactics, substitutions and look ahead to Doncaster next week as City take their automatic promotion hopes to the wire. This is the 1911 podcast.
Well, good morning. Start again. Right, good morning. Before we start picking the bones apart of the last couple of weeks, I do want to start on a somewhat positive. Yesterday we did mathematically make playoffs.
When I was walking away from the ground yesterday, a policeman laughed at me when I read that out loud. So it's the small things in life.
Well, no, because at the end of the day, start of the season, back in August last year, someone said you'd be in the playoffs. Would we have bitten their hands off?
Yeah, probably.
So let's try and take a positive from it, and then we can tear apart and ruin our brains.
Yeah, I mean, you're right in what you're saying is that we would have been happy with the playoffs. However, this season, as I've just mentioned, I absolutely hate this season so much. Can we not just have mid-table mediocrity, please? Because I can't stand this anymore. It's like all the thing that is on my brain is the next game, and obviously we've got Donny coming up. 2 games to go. Well, is there 2 games to go? That's the problem. Have we really got 5 games left in this, in us, and also in this team?
Yeah, well, we'll cover like permutations, and I think like the possibility of like playoffs or autos right at the end. But we just need to break down what happened yesterday, because from my point of view, from someone who was at the match for 65 minutes, we were absolutely excellent. We were fantastic. I thought. We played them off the park. Their home fans admitted when I spoke to them that we were the best side they'd seen all season, because we bossed it completely. And even at 3-1, 60 minutes in, we looked comfortable. And we'll get on obviously to the changes and the subs, but we do need to talk about that first half and how good we were.
The first half, we were incredible. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes about it. I mean, the standard of play, getting the ball down, the speed of play. Cavs had plenty of space to run in behind. Chesterfield didn't have an answer at all. I think that would really fit into our game style as well, especially with them high pressing us. We were passing the ball around their press so easy. It was like a knife through butter. That played into your likes of Cavs' hands, who loves just running around and getting in behind. And there was so much space behind that Chesterfield defence that every time we went forward, it looked like a goal would come in, to be fair. And I'm fairly sure we could have been 3 or 4 up in that first half without a shadow of a doubt.
I would genuinely say that first 30 minutes was our best 30 minutes of the season so far. Thought we were really, really energetic. We were bullying again. It's great to have Sars back because he's such a bully in midfield, winning those balls, winning those 50-50 balls, getting the ball forward. It was just really good. But the thing was, even at 2-0, when we went 2-0 up, I was still panicking. I was still worried because of simply what had happened against Swindon. And yeah, I'm still trying to get over it. Even though I've slept since, I'm trying to get over it all, really.
Well, one thing I do want to mention about Sars is obviously how good he was. He was unplayable yesterday. But one thing I noticed was I don't think he lost a header for probably about 40 minutes of that game. He won everything in the air. And like you say, the physical presence was off the charts. And that's what drives us as a team when we're away, is that high press and the physicality. Patterson and Sars, every opportunity they had, they were getting tight to their man, really aggressive and physical. And credit to the referee as well, who I thought had a really, really good game. He let a lot of that physicality go.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, well, I certainly thought he did in the first half. I wasn't as sure in the second half. I thought there was a few iffy decisions.
I think that's just a momentum thing, really.
Potentially that was probably the case because they obviously got on top of us after that. But yeah, I thought first half he was decent. But yeah, going back on Sars, I think you're right. I think he didn't seem to lose a header at all. Teo as well played really well on that side. They just did not have an answer for us in that first half. We just completely dominated the game. But
yeah, every player on the pitch just 8 out of 10s or more, absolutely phenomenal. Until the subs come on. Now, this is the big talking point from this game. We talked about it, obviously, in post-Swindon as well, about the subs. I mean, everyone's kind of in agreement that he got at least some of the subs wrong, if not all.
Taking Keller off at the time that he did wasn't the right move for Walker. I do think Walker should have come on, but I think it should have been for Sars. Sars was blowing out of his arse, to be honest, by the 60th minute, which is understandable when you've been out for so long. He's still coming back to match fitness. Probably is he being rushed back a little bit? Yeah. It should have been Sars coming off and Keller should be staying on. This illness talk that Graham were on about, it may or may not be the case. I'm not a massive conspiracy theorist like some of us that tries to read too deep into things, Christopher.
Coming on to that one, I'm not sure that I'm exactly a conspiracy theorist, but I just what interests me was there was 2 points that I'd like to make about that substitution. The first one is when he was coming off, he looked annoyed. He looked quite frustrated. He was almost as if
we looked really confused.
He looked like, why me? Why am I coming off? Gary Jones as well on the Commons as well mentioned it and said, I don't really understand that one. And there was the other one, which is probably a nothing, is that when Pato scored the third goal, Keller was sliding along on the floor with him, looked absolutely fine. Obviously, I can't say whether that's totally the case. Am I completely convinced that Keller was ill? Another one at halftime who said he's ill.
What reason would he have wanted to come off then? Why would Alexander be saying that if...
You'll have to ask the man himself. I mean, obviously, if that is what he's saying, then that's what he's being told. But all I'm saying is that from what I could see on the pitch, what I could see Keller's body language was that he did not want to come off. For a player who said that he was feeling awful at half time, had another 10 minutes, was playing quite well in that 10 minutes as well, and then comes off. I don't know. I mean,
it's worth pointing out that we could have sat back at half time, but we didn't. We did all the positive things. I'm going to come back to this because I think there was a definite difference in approach to the Swindon game for what we tried to do. And for those 15 minutes, he came off at like on the hour mark, basically, didn't he? For those 20 minutes, we were back in control, and there was only ever going to be one winner, and we did the right thing going out and getting that third goal because it looked to tie the game up. But I think just that Keller sub happened too soon, or maybe Alexander tried to preempt it. Maybe he tried to make a tactical switch and it hasn't worked. But the big thing I think that most people have pointed out is that he really tried to cover his arse in the interview post match.
Yeah, and he stumbled a lot when he was talking about it as well. Again, it could be absolutely nothing. That's something I'm just picking up from. He was stumbling about it and saying, "Oh well, of course I didn't want to take him off." There's just a little bit of anomalies there that I wasn't. That just didn't sit right with me, and I know it didn't sit right with a lot of City fans. Am I accusing Graham Alexander of lying? Of course I'm not. Of course I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that for a second. It just seemed a really, really bizarre decision for me. I've got to be honest, he hasn't been great with his subs in the last few games. So it was almost like, again, kind of having a bit of a stinker regarding the substitutions. And
it carried on then as well, didn't it? Because then you're putting Roms in.
Yeah, so on 80 minutes...
Stupid.
Yeah, so on 80 minutes, we get a triple change. We get Sarcevic off for Tommy Lee, or for Cav, basically. And then Critchlow comes on, and then we also get Huntington for Baldwin. The Huntington for Baldwin one I don't have a problem with.
I agree.
That's fine. And also I'd like to point out the Cav for Lee one, I've seen Lee get a lot of hate, but he didn't do anything wrong when he came on. No, as a striker, when you come on with like 15 minutes left, you've only got one role, basically, and that's to continue whatever the person in front of you is doing. And Cav was pressing, and Lee had clearly been told, you have to press, you have to run, you have to be an outlet for us. And he was. He missed one big chance, which Cav might have missed anyway. My uncle was in the home end. Shout out to him. He was right behind that Lee shot, and he basically said he tried to sort of bend it into the top corner, and he just didn't get the whip on it. It was a big chance, and obviously at 4-2, that would have killed the game off. But I don't think Lee did anything wrong when he came on. He just played his part.
Andy,
you're wrong. Just end of. You're wrong. Like, the boy is lazy. He's come on. Cav's run his ass into ground all game, and I don't see this intensity of this press that you're alluding to. Because
I'm definitely not saying that. I'm definitely not saying the press is as intense. But
no,
I'm saying that he definitely ran more.
But he doesn't have an excuse, does he? He's come on with 10, 15 left to go. He's come on. He should be running his ass into ground. He's as fresh as a daisy. There shouldn't be any excuse. And there's no intensity in that press. I'm sorry. He's just slowly jogging around to make it look like he's pressing. He's got you fooled.
He wasn't jogging. I can tell you that. From being at the match, he definitely wasn't jogging. And he did more pressing than I've seen him do. He'd clearly been told, you have to run. I'm not saying his press was as good as Cab's, because they're completely different players and builds, and he's obviously not as quick. But
that's besides the point. Is different player, different build, and he's not as quick. That shouldn't make a difference. Effort isn't about pace. Effort is about putting the hard graft in. And the boy's just jogging around to his so-called press. Nah, I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Can I come in here, chaps? I think there's going to be a bit of a roles reversal here, because usually this is Ewan. Usually it's me and Andy that are arguing at this point. I can see both sides of the situation here.
You have to mediate, don't you?
I do. I listen, I am with Ewan on the side of the fact that his job was to press. However, I thought he looked a little bit leggy. I felt that he wasn't running as much. Even when the goalkeeper, for instance, was getting the ball back, I didn't feel like he had any effort in trying to get that ball whatsoever. I do feel sorry for the lad, because he's had so many chances now that he's missed that have been one-on-ones. He's at 4 or 5 that he's missed now. I reckon it's something like that. I don't think he made any massive contribution to the game. However, I think Ewan is right. I think he was there for the press. I think that we were, obviously because of the substitutions, we were pressing, we were going deep again, which doesn't work. It's not working. I nearly swore then. It's not worked for the last few games when we've dropped back. And it's frustrating, because you can see what's going to happen. And obviously, I think the line was from Alexander was, you go up, you press. If that ball comes to you, great. That's what your position is. However, have we seen the real Lee? The jury's totally out for me, because the guy who was at Accrington Stanley is a completely different player to what we're seeing. But also, is that because he's been played out of position?
I don't know, but just going back to this press, right? What is the definition of a press? A press is to put pressure on the man with the ball to either win the ball back, or at the very least, put him off in some sort of way that it causes a mistake. To do that, you need to be in his face, not taking a slow jog so you're 10 yards in front of him, so he's still got all the time in the world. this is my issue with Lee. When you had Cav on, or even Pato when he ran ahead of Cav or from midfield, whatever, they were getting into the faces. They were putting that player with the ball under direct pressure. Lee's just skirting around. So, yeah, he would put on to press. You could call it a loose press by gently jogging to your man. But that's what putting the fear of God into him to make a mistake.
See, I would say on the flip side to that, I don't think that Lee's a forward. It's never been it's not been where he's played majority of his career. A lot of people, when I've talked to them about what to expect of him, when I told them that we signed him as a forward and he was going to play up there, they said, what? Why? That's not where he plays well. He's been made to play in this position. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. He's been made to play in that position. Is that the best position for Lee? Are we not seeing the best of Lee simply because he's not been played in position and he's been expected, because we didn't sign another forward in January, to play in that position that he's not expected, that he's never really played in?
Well, this is the issue, I think, with a lot of the subs as well, that people can't really see from my point of view, is that everyone's coming out and saying, asking for Alexander's head because he's got the subs wrong.
Which is ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. This manager has a 49% win rate, and we're third in the league. I don't think people can actually see the deeper side of things here. Yes, he maybe got the subs wrong today, but what other option does he have? We do not have another player to play that 6 role. When Sarcevic dropped back there when Walker came on to play in his position off the right, he's not a 6. Sure, he can play that sort of... We're playing sort of a double pivot at the moment, I suppose, with Keller and Patterson, or Patterson and Sarcevic. We're not playing with an out-and-out 6 like we usually do. The 2 centre-mids are having to work for each other rather than Smallwood doing all the defensive side of things. We don't have another player in that 6 role. So when Critchlow comes on, or when we put Baldwin in that hole, or when Keller has to play that, it's not their position. And you can say that for Lee as well. It's not ideal at all.
No, it's not ideal, but if you looking back on it though, when in January, how many times were people saying if we get another midfielder in, they're going to lose their minds because we had so many brought in? It's a double-edged sword. Like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I personally think that there is cover there. Baldwin has played CDM before, and it didn't work out so well last week, but he has done it there before, and he's put in a performance there. So why not, when you bring Roms on, chuck Baldwin up front, up into CDM, sorry.
But I would also mention as well, there was another midfielder that was on there that has played in that position before. Lapsley. For me, I would question why Critch, who... I think Critch is a very interesting conversation that we should have. But before we do, I think if you look at Lapsley probably should have been in that position rather than Critch. My worries with Critch, he isn't the player that we saw a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, so we talked about this before we went on air, and I pointed out that possibly the Critch of 2-3 years ago in that playoff charge might have had the confidence and the awareness to play that number 6 role, but at the moment he just doesn't. He doesn't have the confidence, he's not getting enough game time, and he's clearly not the same player that we had on loan 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, my worry with Critch is his ball control, and I think that when he's been put into that position, there was major worry straight away. And let's face it, I think it was for them to go 4-3 up, gave the ball away. My concern was that, for me, maybe it was even more of a bizarre sub than the Keller one, if you look at it on ability that those footballers have. And Critch was definitely not the man. I think when we saw those subs, surely there was a thought in our heads, here we go again.
He didn't look like he knew where he was supposed to be positioned on a pitch.
Yeah.
He was so lost from the second he came on. He was so lost in his positioning. We know the boy can tackle. We know the boy can head. His ball control's been average at best recently. I think that's fair to say. But the issue that he had in CDM yesterday was he didn't know where to go. Like, he's not used to having to cover the whole pitch, and he was getting sucked into challenges that he shouldn't be getting sucked into because of his positional awareness. He doesn't have a clue of the position. that's why I was thinking maybe he should have swapped Baldwin and Critch around. Baldwin's got at least some sort of knowledge of the positioning of being a defending midfielder. It's Critch. He was just way out of his depth.
I think Baldwin came off simply because he was absolutely knackered.
Yeah, one thing to point out, again, from the Alexander post-match interview is he said that nearly all of the subs were enforced. So he blamed the Keller one, or well, not blamed, take it as you will. He said Keller was feeling ill, Sarcevic was obviously blowing, so was Cav. Adamarola went down before he was subbed off for right, and Baldwin, we don't know. But yeah, he said that all the changes were enforced, and he sort of stuck his neck out to say that I had to make these changes.
I don't think that these changes were that enforced, personally. I'm starting to sound like Chris now, being all conspiracy.
I was going to say, make your mind up. You've just told me that.
Pick a lane.
I don't think they were enforced in such a heavy tone. I just think that Graham got it wrong, which surprises me because usually in his post-match interviews, he's fairly honest with himself and he's quite self-deprecating. I tend to try and give him benefit of the doubt because he is usually quite honest and straightforward. He knows where he's messed up, he knows where his team's messed up, and he'll defend his team. But you know fine well that he's give them a rollicking at full time. Yeah,
the players at the end of the match looked really down. Like you could tell that they knew they'd let another one slip, and we talked about it pre-Knots about the mental fortitude of the team. Do they have it in them? Alexander made a really interesting comment in the post-match interview saying that so few of the players have been in this promotion situation before, which I thought was a really strange comment to make. He's kind of thrown a lot of the squad under the bus there.
Yeah, it was. There is a lot of inexperience as of being in this position before. I mean, I was trying to think of players that have been in this position before. So that the kind of names that I thought of was obviously Sars last season, Byrne as well last season, Baldwin for Notts County when they went up. I know it was the National League, but still. And I think Halliday at Burton as well. I thought it was a really strange comment to make about the team. Really, is he saying that in himself that they don't have the mental fortitude to go forwards?
Again, without jumping to his aid too much, I think he's maybe going towards the fact of look at how close the League Two table is. How many players have been in a scrap where it's going down to final day to even get a decent playoff position, let alone automatics? How many players have actually been a part of such a tight race?
Probably not many.
I mean, even Sars, how many of Sars's promotions from League Two have been where it's been so tight, where there's literally 2 points in it? I
mean, there's been. I'd imagine that he's a serial promotion winner, isn't he? So I imagine there's been a few, but. I mean, I get where you're coming from with that, Andy. I just think it's a very strange comment, and it does feel a little bit like he has thrown the players under the bus for me. Ewan, what do you think on that?
I think it's worth bringing up his comment because in the last 2 away games we've conceded 8. Admittedly, we've scored 7, which is fantastic because one of the things I was going to bring up about the Chesterfield game as well, we were absolutely clinical. I know Alexander said it could have been 5 or 6, which I think is a bit of a stretch. Yeah, he said 6, didn't he? That was a bit of a stretch, but we definitely could have scored more. We had a few more chances in that first half, but in the second half didn't really have much beside Patterson's goal and Lee's big chance to make it 4-2. It is worth chalking up the defensive vulnerability, obviously, to the lack of Smallwood, since we don't have another Sars, the only real true leader in that team. And obviously we've already mentioned about the lack of depth we have in that 6 role. So I think he has a point, but that's not something you come out and say publicly in an interview. That's something that you maybe address with your backroom staff, not in front of the players.
What do we think's going on with the defence? Because like you say, we've conceded 8. I mean, in the last 2 away games, we've scored 7 goals in 2 away games. Now, by anyone's thinking, you're scoring 7 goals over 2 away games, you're expecting to come away with 6 points, not 1. What's going on with the defence?
I don't know. I think it may. I mean, we have to be fair about kind of like, obviously with Swindon we were down to 10 men in extreme heat. Say extreme heat for England. Let's face it. Although it is a different heat, we conceded 5. We had 7 defenders on the pitch, which obviously brought a massive amount of pressure onto us. I feel a little bit like that was the case yesterday as well, where we add so much pressure onto ourselves. Again, I think, did we end up with six defenders on the pitch, 7 defenders on the pitch again yesterday?
No, I actually rebuttal that by saying that I think the approach yesterday was different, because I know obviously we were down 10 minutes Swindon, so you can chalk that up of, right, we're going to try hit them on the counter and we're going to pack ourselves at the back. But we tried to keep our shape yesterday, which I think was actually really admirable and the right thing to do. So Cav goes off for Lee. We try go like for like. Obviously, he's not like for like, but we're going striker for striker. Sars goes off for, well, Walker, really. That's like for like. Keller goes off for Critch. That's not like for like, but he really didn't have a choice. He maybe could have pushed Baldwin in. And then we kept the shape as well when Adamarola went off for Tyreek Wright. We tried to keep it the same and keep our pressure up the other end. And it kind of worked. We had that big chance at the end, but you could see the way the wind was blowing from about 65 minutes onwards that they were going to get another goal, if not, take it right to the wire. So I admire the fact that he said, right, well, at Swindon, we tried to pack it in the defence and it didn't work. It caused too much chaos. So let's try keep the shape. Sadly, it didn't work.
The thing is, it's the bottling aspect, isn't it? We're conceding goals at the wrong times in games. 45 plus 1, I think it was. 90 plus 2. 90 plus 7. There's a recurring theme that we're thinking the job's done when the clock hits 45 and 90, and we seem to just switch off. You've got players like against Notts with McGoldrick's goal last week. Keller gave him far too much space. We didn't get out to him. And it happened again yesterday. We're giving teams too much space when we're stepping off them. Just that extra couple of yards closer to them. These crosses don't happen. These shots don't happen.
It's worth pointing out as well that your comment might have some gravitas to it, because the equaliser for Chesterfield was a second phase ball. Cross comes in and it's headed away by Wright, I think, at the back post, and the ball comes then back in or low driven, and we just can't get it away. So I don't think we're necessarily taking our eye off the ball. I think the bottle aspect is definitely there in the mental side of things now, because as soon as it is 3-2, the players will be thinking about Swindon. They'll be thinking about, we blew it last time, we don't want to blow it this time, and the nerves will kick in.
And you also missed another goal there, Andy. There was another, so we've had two 45-minute plus goals, 2 90-minute plus goals. I think it's a good point when you mentioned, Andy, is that when we're giving them too much space, and it frustrates me as well, because we never seem to close teams down when they're attacking, and that always seems to be where we really struggle, and that's where the goals are conceded, is that we just don't, when they're just outside the area, sometimes some of the players have got so much time and so much space that no wonder they're getting the balls into the box, no wonder they're scoring the goals. And I do wonder, I mean, I don't know what you gents think about this one, but I do think that we are quite slow-paced at the back. Bar, obviously, Teo and Halliday. I'm not including them. I'm talking about our centre-backs. Are they too slow?
Maybe. I thought Byrne was pretty good yesterday. I know he gets a lot of flack, but I thought he was fairly solid. And I can't think of a time when he was absolutely turned inside out or he really struggled. Baldwin, there was a comment that he shouldn't let Grigg get goal side for their second, and I kind of see it. He maybe doesn't do enough. And I thought Huntington was fine when he came on, obviously.
I do want to
Sheffield
defend
was good as well.
I'd like to defend Baldwin on that, and he should. I get you shouldn't let him get goal side. Totally get that. But with the pen that the ref gave, if Baldwin had tried to get goal side, Grigg's got enough now, so he's going down.
Yeah, I agree.
And the ref were in that sort of mindset of, he showed it when on the pullback on Cavs, he's not afraid to give a penalty. So I think Baldwin was probably playing the safer game there than risking it, because Grigg has got that experience, and you know fine well that he'd have gone down, referee to give a penalty, and then everybody would be screaming blue murder at Baldwin. It's a bit of a lose-lose for the man.
Yeah, probably. Right, we do need to move on. We could spend all day analysing a game like that, but we do need to move on to the roundup of the other fixtures from around the grounds. In the early kick-off, Walsall failed to get a win. 99th minute handball. Real drama there with Newport County. So no goals there, 1 point only. Carlisle got a late equaliser at Accrington. Obviously, there was our draw with Chesterfield, meaning that Doncaster went top with their 3-0 win over Colchester. Wimbledon lost away at Gillingham, and Notts County losing to Cheltenham. Port Vale also dropping points at home to Grimsby and getting themselves a 95th minute equaliser to save themselves and grab a point. So it is definitely going to go down to the wire, and it just makes next Saturday at Doncaster even bigger.
Next Saturday at Doncaster is scary thoughts. But I do want to just point out on the Walsall thing, because it could have some benefits and implications to us as well. I was watching that game, and the Walsall keeper totally destroyed one of the Newport players. Like, it was filthy, kicked him in the head. Ref didn't even call a foul, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Walsall keeper gets a retrospective ban from that.
Yeah, it was a bad one. It was a really bad one, and the referee bottled it, I felt, in that position. And I think that the red card for Newport as well is probably going to be rescinded. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. By the way, on the goal, it was a Maradona-esque. It was, which is crazy, because the thing was, he didn't even need to touch it with his hand.
Yeah, he could have headed it. I think he actually, from the close-up replay, I think actually he probably misses it with his head, and it's just the position of his hand because he's following in. I'm not sure he's definitely not punched it into the net, but it's definitely come off his arm.
But those are the kind of results that we need.
Yeah, especially with Walsall's next two games being Accrington Stanley at home and Crewe away. So that's definitely easier than a lot of other teams. Port Vale next to being Wimbledon away and Gillingham at home, who have just beaten Wimbledon.
And Accrington are going to be on the beach as well now, because
they're safe now.
Barring a 10-goal swing.
I don't think they are yet. I think that. I mean, I was desperate for Carlisle to win, not because I want them to stay up, but so that Accrington would be competitive next week. But I'm going to say, listen, I've watched the last few Walsall games. They are so poor. I was the same. I watched it with Andy as well. I thought the quality of football in that game was absolutely abysmal compared to what we have. Literally, when you're watching us, there was levels above in the games. However, I'd rather be playing Accrington than I would be Doncaster. But this season has been so crazy that I don't think anything is a given. I'm going to stick with that, and hopefully those are not going to be my famous last words.
Yeah.
Aki are going to get some points next week.
Yeah, but we definitely can't rely on Walsall with their fixtures being slightly easier than the average team who's buzzing around the autos. Worth noting as well that Wimbledon have Port Vale at home and then Grimsby away. So again, no guarantees there. And Notts as well, having Donny at home on the final game of the season. They're going to be wanting to prove something. Donny potentially needing to wrap up the title on that day. It's all going to go down to the wire, definitely. But next Saturday is a real doozy.
That's the only thing I can think about. Listen, I think that we have been so out of luck for weeks and weeks and weeks now. Is this the time where we finally get a bit of luck? Everybody else has been getting this luck. Everybody else has been getting these last-minute equalisers or winners around us, bar obviously Walsall. But is it our time where we're actually going to get a little bit of luck and we're going to see a proper performance? I suppose it's good that we've got a few days rest. Get Sars maybe back a little bit more fitter.
Yeah, but then you've got.
I know.
I'm struggling to get myself up for this Donny game, because you've got the likes of Jordan Gibson. He's going to be up for it. You know what he's like.
Always he's against us.
And Billy Sharp served his ban.
Yeah, so on the last
We got that wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah,
on
so
the last
on the-
pod, I'll hold my hand up. I got it wrong. I forgot that Doncaster had a game in hand, so his 3-match ban stretched into their game in hand. So he served his last ban against Colchester yesterday. So
Ewan gaffs coming at the end of the season.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll hold my. I'm man enough to hold my hand up and say I got it wrong.
But I mean, to be fair, we went with it as well, so we're just as culpable as you are.
Absolutely.
This is the great thing about us. We're not experts. Billy Sharp back, loves a goal against us. Annoyingly, Molyneux is ridiculously informed, the best player in this league. I think if anybody was questioning it before, they shouldn't be questioning it now because the lad is absolutely phenomenal.
Did he see his assist yesterday? He's taken it from inside his own half and he's dribbled past 3 players before setting up his mate, and he is levels above everything that we have to offer or anyone else in the league for that matter. It's different styles to the game, and I can't remember the last time Bradford really had a player like that who you felt could take on 4 players like that.
You say that, right? I watched the Tranmere game for Donny, and if you man mark him right, he's so quiet. Yeah, he got a hat trick, but
I was going to point that out. That's a bit of a juxtaposition there.
No, because the hat trick, the goals were all got a penalty, a free kick that were shot come cross that it was just fluke, and the third goal at that point, Tranmere was just pushing everything forward. But the majority of the game, they kept him fairly quiet. If you can get a man mark on him and keep him quiet, Donny start to lose any sort of outlet. It is crucial that we have the right man on Molyneux at all times and stuck to him like glue.
He's a right-sided player, isn't he? So that'll be Teo versus Molyneux.
Teo's going to struggle.
I do want to point out that yesterday Teo did a really, really good job, I thought, marking Ola Kigbe. He had one moment in when they scored where he let him slip, and other than that, I think he had him just about down. And in the second half, we started to double up on him more as well until we started backing off, and then he had more space. And I think he might have. Did he get the? No, he didn't get the assist for the winner, but he was a thorn in our side all day. But I trust Teo in my life. He's such a good player. Defensively, we've questioned him over the last few weeks, but him versus Molyneux is going to be a great battle, and I'm sure Teo will be aware of what he needs to do and how he needs to go about his business.
I think if we play Shepherd next to Teo, I think that's how we keep him quiet. Because Teo's got the pace to stay with him. And then Shepherd, I feel he is calmness personified when it comes to defending. And he knows how to play the game as well. His mindset of being able to get the easy fouls and whatnot against him will really come into play. So I think Teo on his own would struggle, but I think if we sort of like not double up too tight, but if we have Shepherd next to Teo to nullify the Molyneux threat, it just takes such a massive outlet away from him. At that point, then Donny do tend to look a bit mediocre when he's out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you look through sort of their lineup, I'm still calling you out on that as premium cope. And I suspect you may be proven wrong come Saturday. But you're right. There isn't any player in that lineup really that I would be as afraid of as Molyneux. Clifton in the middle of the sort of the front four is a real player, but obviously he's a level below Molyneux, as is Gibson. But he always seems to raise his game when he comes up against us anyway. So I'd expect a world-class performance from him as well. And obviously, we've already talked about the part to play that Sharp will probably have.
Sharp for me is gonna be a big one. He'll either turn up or he won't. It's as simple as that. And we all know he loves to turn up against Bradford City. So for me, it's just scary, isn't it?
Well, let's boil it down to a simple result. What do we think we can get anything from that game?
And I also worry about Sterry as well. I think Sterry's a really, really good player. I think we need to make sure that he's not playing particularly well next week. He's certainly a danger man for them as well.
I think you're right about Sterry, but also from when I watched the Tranmere game, you get into his face, he's quite hot-headed. You get him on an early booking, and he's in trouble. I think Cav needs to be in at him.
Also, I would mention about George Broadbent as well. He's up for Young Player of the Season. He's been very, very good for them. I think he's been a bit quiet over the last couple of weeks, if I'm right. And also, Charlie Cruz come back into their team. So he is, I believe, 17 years old that they've got on loan from Leeds. There's massive expectancy that he's going to be a big player for Leeds, actually, believe it or not, in the next few years. I know that he's been on the bench last month or so, but he's just come back into the team and they played yesterday. So he's another danger man. So, yeah, maybe they have got a few more players than we're giving credit for.
Going off the players to watch out for, we all know Ticketgate happened with this, with them limiting the amount of away allocation. Does that put them in a better position, or is that adding fuel to our fire to really want to go there and have that mentality of us versus them, fans-wise and players? Is that going to fuel the players, or is it just a bit of mind games that nobody's actually going to really care about?
I think it's a bit of both. You could look at it either way. If we win, then you can go, oh, it was us versus them. And if we get hammered, you can go, oh, well, that was clearly an advantage that they planned. There's no way to look at it, and there's no way to win with that sort of comment, I think. Yes, obviously, there was a bit of a scandal, but we knew it was coming because it was leaked that McCann had said that he wanted the tickets to be limited, which is fair enough. Why not get every advantage you can? But also credit to Doncaster because they've actually done a great job of filling the ground for that game coming up, when sort of a lot of City fans were saying, well, you don't fill your ground, so give us more tickets. And they've done a good job of making sure that people will come down to the ground for that game.
It's only filled up, though, because 90% of those extra tickets are sold to City fans in the home end.
Right, okay.
I'd be going back onto what you're saying. Does it add a little bit more fire? I think that I don't think so. I think that if the players are not up for this game, then then we don't deserve to go up. I think that those players need to not worry about that. I think that, McCann has been known for doing this before, and to be fair, would we do the same thing if we could? Absolutely. Who wouldn't? So for me, it's a kind of it's disappointing because I think, I would have loved to have gone, but I think we've just got to get on with it. We still got 1,000 City fans there. We've got to show up. But in fact, what we need to do is we need to shut those Donny fans up very quickly.
The starts we've had in the last 2 away games have been absolutely phenomenal. We didn't really have anything until Poynton scored, but that clinicalness is going to be our friend. If we can get a fast start like we have had in the previous 2 away games, then we've just got to shut up shop.
Which doesn't work
doesn't work very well for us. So even at 3-1 we're not safe, apparently. So yeah, we've got to go there with the right mentality, like you've already said. We've got to play like we have for the majority of our last 2 away games. And if we get it right, there is no reason why we can't walk away with a point or even 3.
You're putting your money where your mouth is, then?
Absolutely not. One stat I do want to get in before we go over our predictions is Doncaster's home form this season. So they have won 11, drawn 7, lost 4, and only one of the wins, those 11, have come against a team in the top 9 of League 2, and that was against Colchester yesterday. It's food for thought. It's really down to us, I think, what City turns up.
Yeah, it does, and that's exactly what it'll be. And I just hope that we turn up.
So come on then, stick your necks on the line. I want to hear.
1-1.
Bastard. No, I were going to go for the same.
We're not doing this bit again. Chris, what's your prediction?
I'm going to go 2-2.
I think a draw is where it's going to be. I suppose you would back your house on a late Billy Sharp winner. After Bradford go 2-1 up and we can't hold on. Yeah, whatever happens, it's going to be the game of the season. It's going to be so vital for both teams. Donny looking to secure the title, us just hoping for autos and seeing what we can do with that win. It's who knows. But
that's the bigger question. Are we getting over the line?
I think we can. I think the form of Walsall is too big to ignore at the moment. Like you said, when you guys were watching the Newport game, and the quality of both sides was really lacking. Maybe say that the same is going to happen against Accrington, but also you're slightly worried that Walsall will kind of have a sense of, we need to wake up because actually we're not out of this and we're still in this. We can salvage these autos and we haven't blown it just yet because the league has been so open.
Yeah, and that's it. And they, even though they haven't won now in, what is it? Is it 11?
11.
And we've just allowed them to still be around in that position. And at the end of the day, listen, if we don't go up automatically, the fault lies at our own feet. We've had opportunities. We've had ample opportunities to win these games. We've had far too many times where we've let last-minute goals in, or we've given McGoldrick too much space, or whatnot. If we don't go up, it's simply on our shoulders, and we have to accept that. And yeah, boys, I tell you what, listen, I keep saying this every week, but we got to strap in. Strap in some more. I want to get out the seat. I want to get out the car. But unfortunately, at the moment, that just ain't happening. So, yeah, it's another week. It's another week of nerves.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be with you after that Doncaster game for another roundup of that. But until then, thank you so much, gents. It's been a pleasure as always. And we'll see you after another nail-biting Saturday.
This podcast is brought to you by Coral, and they're here for the fans. At the Fan Network, we have a mission to shake up the game we all love, and that's why we partnered with Coral, who've been shaking things up too. With their free-to-play reward shaker, there are guaranteed rewards and exclusive offers to be won every single day. Whether you're a part of the Badging Brigade, the Away Dayers, or the Football Fashionistas, Coral's here for the fans. Play Coral's reward shaker and win bigger guaranteed daily rewards and offers this season. For over 18s only, maximum one reward or offer per player per day. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. Visit gambleaware.org for more details.
This episode of the 1911 podcast is brought to you by Coral, the proud sponsor of the TalkSport Fan Network, here for all kinds of fans. For the armchair experts who didn't have enough City points to make that away game. For the football fashionistas that wear claret and amber with pride. And for the nostalgia merchants, because nothing beats the history makers. Whatever kind of fan you are, with Coral's free-to-play reward shaker, win a guaranteed daily reward or offer throughout the season. Simply shake your phone to win. Over 18s only, maximum one reward or offer per player per day, 8am to 8pm. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. For more information on safer gambling, visit gambleaware.org.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.